Hi guys, my name is Ivo from mytestedasp.net. Recently I found a simple way to break the C# compiler and I decided to share it with you. Okay, I have created Break the Ruler C# console application and it's actually quite easy. Fortunately, you will not find such code in a production ready application, but nevertheless it's quite funny. So what we need to do is to exploit the generics, and I will write a generic class using T1 and T2. So I will have a class with two generic parameters, then I will have a property containing the same class, and the two generic parameters will be the same class again. And I will make that property called hitMe, because when we hit that property multiple times, the C# compiler will explode. I'm going to run the task manager performance to see whether the CPU is going to get crazy. The way this works is that when I create a type myClass instance from string and string, for example, this will generate a large property type, and if I create and execute that property multiple times, the type will explode. The type will be generated exponentially. So I will have a myClass of myClass of myClass of myClass of myClass and so on. And that's how we can break the compiler in 10 lines of code. So I will create an instance of this class, myClass of string and string. That's completely enough. Then I will call the property, and when I call the property, at first it's myClass of myClass of string string of myClass of string string of myClass and so on, which is kind of fine. But when I call it the second time, that's becoming myClass of myClass of myClass, and I'm not going to read that because it's quite long. And when I call it the third time, it's getting already crazy. But if you want to break the compiler, you just need to call it, for example, 9 times. Even the Visual Studio is no longer showing hints. Visual Studio cannot understand. Okay, it's showing this one and it's quite crazy, but it's getting difficult for it to understand what the var type actually is, because it contains 100 and more myClass generic parameters. Okay, and when I try to build that, let's try to build it. Currently it succeeds, so we need to make it a little bit difficult for the compiler, and when I rebuild it, it will hang. And we broke it. As we can see, the CPU is going crazy currently, and that application won't build. Even if you wait a little bit, it won't build. So essentially we broke the compiler. Fortunately, I can hit cancel and leave Visual Studio, and my computer will come back to normal in, for example, 2 to 3 minutes. But still. So that's a funny way to break the C# compiler. If you know any other way to break it, I will be happy to read about it. So if you want, leave a comment below explaining how you can break the compiler in another way. The reason uh, behind the problem here is quite technical and it's quite difficult, so I'm not going to explain it in this video, but if you're curious, I will leave a link below to an article which explains in detail what exactly happens when we try to execute the code I showed you. But first I want to thank my sponsors, because in my free time I'm creating open source libraries and I'm very happy that companies are starting to sponsor them so that I can continue freely distribute and develop my projects. My projects are for the ASP.NET framework, and essentially they're a very easy testing libraries which allow you to write one-line unit tests. And my sponsors are currently Softuni and Smart IT. Thank you guys, I really appreciate your work. And for the article, this is the article, How to Stress the C# compiler. I will leave a link in the description, and it's explaining why the generic parameter is not working when you explode it the way we did. The article contains a little bit of deep knowledge about Turing machines, about the C# language, but if you're curious, you can read it. It's up to you. Okay, thank you guys. That's from me, and don't forget to subscribe and hit the thumbs up button.